the CEO just glanced at his fiancee's shoulder and was horrified to discover she was not the woman he had met 5 years ago, because the CEO clearly remembered. The woman had a distinctive butterfly birthmark on her body, but just then, he vaguely recalled the secretary who had been repeatedly troublesome earlier might actually be the lifesaver he had been looking for over the past 5 years. But just as he was about to approach her to investigate, the assistant rushed over urgently and told the CEO that his paternity test report showed the child his fiancé brought was his biological son. However, the CEO was confused, since he had only interacted with the woman who had the butterfly birthmark on her shoulder. At that moment, his fiancé pulled him aside and showed him the other side of her shoulder. It was then the CEO believed his fiancé was the woman he had been looking for. Just as he thought everything was settled and life would be worry-free, the CEO received a call from his grandmother, and she immediately scolded him for not informing her about such an important matter, about finding a granddaughter-in-law to test her character. The next day, the grandmother disguised herself as a cleaner and went to the CEO's company, but by accident, she bumped into his fiancé. Without a word, the fiancé kicked the grandmother, complaining that she was too shabby, and ordered the others to throw her out. This scene happened to be seen by the woman arriving at work. She not only helped the grandmother to the couch, but also had her son check on the old lady's injuries. Looking at the little boy, the grandmother liked him very much and felt he resembled her own grandson. So, while the woman was on the phone, the grandmother quietly took a strand of the boy's hair, planning to have a paternity test done. But before the results came out that evening, the woman received a call from the CEO, but it wasn't to thank her. Instead, he asked her to come pick him up at the bar. Seeing the CEO drunk, the woman had a hard time taking him back to the villa. But just as they entered, she noticed a scar on the CEO's body. It was then she realized in horror that he was the biological father of her child. But instead of choosing to recognize him, she sadly left the villa. The woman then remembered the scheming woman's child was also his, and immediately realized she had slept with both men that night. She decided that she couldn't let the man know about her child's existence. The next day, as soon as the man arrived at the office, the assistant told him they had found out who had helped the old lady yesterday. Upon hearing this, the man took the report and was shocked to find it was the woman. At the same time, the woman entered the office to deliver a contract and was about to leave, but the man stopped her. The woman immediately sensed something was wrong, so she told the man that what happened last night was an accident. But to her surprise, the man said it wasn't about that. The next moment, he handed her an enrollment notice from a kindergarten. The woman immediately realized he wanted her to promise not to tell the scheming woman about what happened last night, and she quickly made the promise. But to her surprise, the notice was from the grandmother. It turned out that when the old lady heard from the woman's phone call that her son had no school to attend, she asked the man to help solve it. After hearing this, the woman looked confused. The man then explained that the person she had helped yesterday was his grandmother, and invited her to attend the old lady's birthday party next week. The next day, the woman took the child to kindergarten, but as soon as the child entered, he found someone had taken his spot. Not wanting to cause trouble, he had no choice but to switch places with the other child. Then, he went to get some water, but the boy across from him secretly placed his jade